Hello, one and all. This is my view of My Hero Academia, Chapter 374, Butterfly Effect. And I've gotta say, things are not going all that well for the heroes, as All For One managed to summon both Dabi and Toga, disguised as Twice, to this battle against Hawks and Endeavor, both of whom are already, very badly beaten up. So, yeah, that's bad. That is really so overwhelmingly bad. And a lot of fans are wondering, how exactly are Hawks and Endeavor, not gonna die here? And while Hawks definitely has some death flags, I don't think things are actually as bad as people seem to think right here, because, let's take Dabi for instance. He is close to death. He is very, very close to death. They keep saying, oh, the hate is keeping him alive. But even this chapter, he says, if I keep duking out with Shoda in the hopes of bringing Dad a parting gift, my body won't last. So he is on a timer. He is 100% on a timer before the burns, literally destroys organs, and he fully and completely dies. So, it's going to be an emotional battle with him against Endeavor, but probably not, all that long of a battle. Then we have Toga disguised as Twice, which for some reason a lot of people seem to be confused about, which is weird because, a couple chapters ago, it was very clearly stated that Toga had Twice's blood. Obviously, Toga could transform into Twice, so yeah, I'm not sure why fans are actually confused about that, but regardless, this is a really big freaking deal. Twice's Sad Man Parade is such an overwhelming threat to the entire world that Hawks literally had to stab him in the back. He was too dangerous to be kept alive, which is overwhelmingly terrifying. Over-freaking-whelmingly terrifying. But it's quite possible here that Twice, aka Toga, isn't actually in the best shape right now, because let's not forget, she's been battling with Uraraka and Froppy for a while now. At least like 10, 20 minutes, I'm not really sure what the timeline is here. But that could mean, that she's not actually in her full fighting form, that she's not in the best shape, and she won't be able to hold up, the Sad Man's Parade forever. Also, she only had a very small amount of Twice's blood, unless she can, steal blood from the copies themselves, which seems unlikely. This Sad Man's Parade can only last for a few minutes, so, they have a chance. They certainly have a chance there. And then, of course, we have the big man himself, the devil, the demon lord, All For One. Though he might not be as much of a threat as you might think, because if I remember correctly, when he first used Ares' quirk, he said, this was a measure of last resort, and I think he's on a timer now. Sooner or later, the power of that quirk will reverse him into utter and complete nothingness. So, yeah, Dabi, All For One, and Toga are all on a timer before their powers run out, in which case Endeavor and Hawks really just need to keep, fighting as long as they can, keep holding out until all of their enemies basically just die on their own. That's gonna be an interesting fight. That's gonna be a very, very interesting fight. Oh, and then of course there's, Korgiri himself, the one who teleported everyone to this battlefield, and that is interesting. I absolutely love Korgiri as a character because he proves that All For One is in fact not a god. As insanely, overwhelmingly powerful as All For One is, he was not able to turn Shirakumo, Aizawa's friend, into a, straight-up killer. Instead, he made him someone whose entire purpose was to protect Shigaraki, because that's who Shirakumo was. He was a protector of the weak. That's not exactly a good description of Shigaraki, but still, he was a protector, and even now, as Korgiri, he is still a protector. And what's more, he isn't really, fully awake at this point. All For One said he planted a microdevice in Shigaraki's hand, which, weird, but whatever, which allowed him to, basically use his quirk without being fully awake, so even if Korgiri teleports, right in front of Aizawa, it doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be Korgiri. He might actually be Shirakuma, or it might be possible for Aizawa and President Mike to awaken him as Shirakuma, which would be, an absolute game changer. I'm not really sure what it would accomplish, but definitely feels like it would do something. At the very least, maybe they'd be able to, teleport Uraraka and Froppy to the battlefield to lend a helping hand to All For One, to lend a helping hand to Endeavor and Hawks. Maybe. Not sure about that. But anyway though, back to start this chapter. I'm not gonna lie, when I first saw the raws for this, I was confused. I was very, very confused why we're suddenly cutting to a weather girl, over in America that seemed just utterly ridiculous and pointless. And then you started talking about the butterfly effect, and I got even more confused until I realized she was basically criticizing the government and the entire world for giving in to Shigaraki, for giving in to All for One's demands, and basically saying, yes, we accept you as our Lord and Savior. Praise be to you, All for One. And my first thought was, I'm like, okay, you know what, that's pretty cool. She's standing up to the government. That's impressive. But then I realized, oh, no. She is doing something far, far more impressive than that. She is standing up to All for One, because the absolute first thing that All for One's gonna do when he takes over the world is kill a bunch of people. Kill those who refuse to serve him, kill those who stand up to him, kill those who speak out against him, like this weather girl, like Meryl is doing right here. And so I have to applaud you. Hats off. Hats off, Meryl. You spoke truth to power in the best way possible, and that is exactly what a journalist should do. Now, whether or not a weather girl can be considered a journalist, I'll leave that one up to you, but still, it was very impressive, and I loved it, especially because I would not do that. Seriously, I would not do that. I am a true blue coward, and I can promise you, if All for One did take over the world, I wouldn't say a thing. I would not speak a single bad word against him. I would never even mention him. I would just, let him rule the world and try my best not to get killed or not to, make him angry. I am a coward, and I apologize, but that is who I am. And quite frankly, I think if everyone watching this was being honest with themselves, they'd do the same thing. They would not stand up, they would not fight back, because, you would lose. You would obviously lose when fighting against a freaking god. But, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe some of you actually would stand up, and if so, good for you, I applaud you, but I am very much not you. But anyway, though, back in the fight, Dabi is still somehow kicking, despite all of his organs being very, very badly burnt, and thanks to Kurogiri, he's able to teleport all the way to All for One, which really raises the question, what's going on with Shoto now? Is his story over with? I mean, I'm not sure, but maybe this is the reason why Horikoshi placed Ida with Shoto, so that Ida could basically, carry him all the way to the battlefield, carry him all the way to All for One. And that would make some sense, because otherwise, Ida's presence here is weird. So overwhelmingly weird. It served no purpose, and from a strategy perspective, it makes no sense to place a guy whose weakness is heat against freaking Dabi. It's weird. It is so weird. And then we have Monoma being the dark side of UA in the best possible way. As he says, he's never going to give up. He's never going to blink, simply because he wants history books to remember his name. He wants the world to know that he's the person who saved everyone, who saved the entire planet. He's the reason why the Demon Lord was slain. Huzzah! I love it. I freaking love it. And then things take a very, very dark turn as Kurogiri and President Mike teleport directly behind Monoma and Aizawa, which is, bad, so bad. I mean, worst possible scenario right here is that Kurogiri manages to knock out Monoma or teleports him far away, and that allows Shigaraki to make use of all of his quirks, and he's able to fully heal all the damage he's, taken from Deku, Bakugo, and all the other pro heroes, doing their absolute best darndest to win this fight. So, yeah, that could be bad. That could be really freaking bad. And then, hopefully, after that happens, Aizawa and President Mike will be able to wake up Kurogiri, remind him who he really was, and then he'll join the hero side. I mean, a bit too late for that, but, it'd be something. It'd be something at least. And after that, we can summon in all the other heroes who are, scattered around the world to help in this big final battle somehow, some way, maybe. I'm honestly not sure. And then we end on Twice's return, and Hawks being, very shocked for a few moments before shouting, "Kill them! Right now!" Which, is probably the best possible strategy when dealing with Twice. You have to kill the original before there's so many copies that you can't figure out who the original actually is. Though there's also a very worrying possibility that the original is neither of them, and the actual original Toga/Twice is still on the island. Though that could lead to some interesting possibilities, because if the original doesn't come through the portal, and the Twices and the copies act by themselves, multiplying infinitely, then it would be up to Uraraka and Froppy to actually deal with the original, to actually deal with Toga at the source, which would be, really great to see. Honestly, I just want to see them. Seriously, what is going on with that fight? We have not seen it since Deku first left. And, speaking of Deku, I'm seeing some people online who are angry that, oh, this is all Deku's fault. They could have dealt with Toga really quickly before he left. And it's like, no, we couldn't. It was stated very clearly that Toga was able to negate Deku's dangerous sensibility, meaning Deku would have spent, several minutes, several tens of minutes actually, dealing with her, actually putting her down when he was needed very much elsewhere. Seriously, if he had been like 5-10 seconds later to getting back to the away cage, a whole bunch of people would have died. So yeah, it makes complete sense that Toga would still be alive here. Especially because Deku didn't actually know that Toga had twice his blood. He didn't actually know that she was, such an overwhelmingly, insanely dangerous threat. But anyway, though, please let me think down below. What do you think of the Weather Girl, speaking truth to power? Do you think All For One is going to kill her when he takes over the world? How long does Dabi have before he burns to death? How long can Toga keep up the twice appearance before she runs out of blood? Or can she just, keep sucking his blood over and over again indefinitely? What about All For One? Is he going to last long, or is he, running out of time because of the reverse quirk? And can Aizawa and President Mike get through to Korgiri and wake him up before he takes out Monma? Let me know what you think down below. Oh, and also be sure to follow me on Twitter. Yes, I now have a Twitter account at Justking_games because, yeah, what the heck, now felt like the best possible time to join Twitter. But anyway, though, until next time, peace!